Watson, wake up.
What? Oh, yes. The ghost. Do you see him?
No, but I can hear noise.
Yes, I hear it too, like something being dragged.
There it is across the garden.
Yes, I see it.
Come on, let's go. Where'd he go?
I don't know. He was just here.
Over there, I see someone.
You there!
Yes?
Did you see anyone exit the garden here just now as you were skating past?
No, I didn't see anyone.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you skate around here often?
Yeah, I have for years. I used to live on the street, but we moved a few blocks over. I still come by every now and then, though.
All right, thank you for your help.
Mr. Holmes, have you found anything?
It seems our ghost has disappeared.
Yes, it certainly looks that way, but I'm not convinced. I think you should give Mr. Rothschild a call and tell him you'd like him to drop by to discuss the sale of the house.
Holmes, are you given up already?
Not at all. I feel quite certain that he will not be so inclined to buy once he arrives.
That should do it. Why, thank you, Mr. Rothschild. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your assistance in ridding myself of this dreadful house.
No problem, sir. I'm happy to have helped.
Now, would you care to join me on the back patio for a smoke to celebrate?
I see no reason why not.
Besides the ghost.
Ah, yes. Well, he's never been much of a bother for me. He always stayed out in the garden away from the house.
Oh, yes, so I've noticed. Lovely weather tonight, don't you think?
Yes, very nice. Ah, thank you.
Well, let us hope we do not see that dastardly white creature tonight.
White, you say?
Well, yes, that white robe of his shines quite bright in the moonlight, don't you think?
I remember him wearing a black robe.
No, your memory is fuzzy. He wears white.
Yes, perhaps.
Ah, see, there he is, suspended above the garden there. You know, I feel much less nervous now, knowing I'll soon be rid of this place.
But that's not... He's much too high up. Perhaps you're being too hasty. Are you sure you really want to sell? I mean, it's not like the ghost is dangerous.
Oh, no, I couldn't live someplace that is haunted.
But I feel perhaps the price is too low. It's not fair to you. Really, I insist you reconsider.
Nonsense. I agreed to the price. That's good enough.
Who is the owner of this house?
It speaks.
I don't know, apparently.
Who is the owner of this house?
He is.
No, Mr. Harrington, please, I ask that you reconsider.
Mr. Rothschild, what's gotten into you? I thought you were comfortable with this ghost.
Well, but this ghost is not... He's too big to be...
I don't understand.
Just unlock the door so I can get inside.
I don't see what the big deal is. You said you were familiar with the spirit.
All right, I made it up. I admit it.
You what?
The ghost was fake. I had my son dress up in a black robe and roller skate through the garden.
You mean the ghost we saw before was not real? And you were just trying to trick me into selling the house?
Yes, now open the door.
That's not necessary, Mr. Rothschild.
What? Who are you?
Allow me to introduce Spencer Holmes.
You mean he's not a ghost?
No, I'm quite alive. But you, on the other hand, are a fraud and a liar.
No, Mr. Harrington, please. You must understand that I was only trying to restore my family's honor in the community. It was quite embarrassing for them when the bank foreclosed on us.
Yes, I understand. Which is why I'm going to give you a chance to avoid jail. You shall tend to my garden for the remaining part of this year. In exchange, I shall not press charges against you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Now leave my home, you scoundrel.
Of course. Thank you again.
Not so fast. You're coming with me.
What? But I thought...
What is the charge, officer? Fraud. Against whom?
Holmes asked me to contact Officer Weathers with our suspicions. It turns out Mr. Rothschild here, better known as Jeremy Simmons, has been pulling this trick all across the country. He buys a house, lives there for a few months without making payments. Then when the bank forecloses and sells the house, his son poses as a ghost in order to convince the buyer to sell the house back at a reduced cost.
He's a con man. Yes, and now he's under arrest. I can't thank you enough, Holmes.
Not a problem. This was a most interesting case, and I do enjoy a little acting now and then.
Yes, you seem to be quite fond of scaring criminals as well.
Yes, very true. And now, Mr. Harrington, I believe you mentioned a handsome reward.
I certainly did, didn't I? And deservedly so. Here, this should do.
Yes, that should do just fine. Thank you, sir.
But before I give it to you, I have one question.
Excuse me, sir, but I believe it is usually my job to ask that question.
Well, then.
Holmes, how on earth did you figure out that Mr. Rothschild was using his son to impersonate a ghost?
Well, it came to me when we saw him skating outside the garden last night. It occurred to me that if you couldn't see a skater's feet, it would almost look like they were floating across the ground. The noise of his skates was covered up by the dragging chain. Also, as the boy is shorter, he could easily have made false shoulders that would raise the height of his clothing to conceal his head and thereby make him appear headless. I was already suspicious of Mr. Rothschild, and when the boy said he used to live in the area, it was too much of a coincidence.
Yes, I see now. He must have ditched his clothing in some bushes just as we crossed the garden to catch him.
Actually, that was not the question that I had. I want to know how you became a ghost. You were much too high up to be on skates.
Ah, yes, well, a simple cable tied between two trees can do wonders. I painted it black so it would not be visible in the night sky. There's a new moon tonight, so I felt confident it would not be seen.
Very impressive, Holmes. Money well spent indeed.
Thank you, sir. And don't hesitate to call if you should need my services in the future.
So, the Headless Ghost turned out to be nothing more than a child on roller skates.
Yes, it certainly did. I don't know how Holmes saw it. I, of course, knew that there was some sort of trickery involved, but the exact method eluded me.
It was a very clever ruse.
Yes, I was most impressed.
So, what new adventure are you going to tell us about next week, Doctor?
Well, next week happens to be Memorial Day, and we will be taking another week off.
Ah, so in 2 weeks then?
Yes, and on that occasion, I believe I shall tell you of the time that Holmes was arrested for murder.
The arrest was unwarranted, I assume.
No, I'm afraid Officer Weathers had plenty of reason to lock up my dear friend. But I shall give you more details at our next meeting.
All right, and in the meantime, don't forget to check out Battlezone Games, just off Interstate 380 in Hiawatha, and online at battlezonegames.com for all your board game and hobby game needs. Tonight's Watson Files adventure was written by Scott Strosaw. Spencer Holmes and Dr. Watson were played by Michael Helgens and Greg Kilberger. Additional voices were performed by Steve Rimpeachy and Stacy Freedy. For Battlezone Games, this is Craig Dowland saying good night from Strobe Studios.